back, listeners, and I want to say, first of all, a special welcome to all the listeners on the 90.1. To those who are streaming us live via our website as we speak on www.ggfmja.org. For those of us who are also listening via brotherdavonministries.com, that's BRODAVON ministries.com, we want to say special welcome to you. Also, to all the TuneIn Radio app listeners, we want to say thank you very much for choosing GGFM, and a special thanks to all those who are listening to us via downloading the GGFM app on your smartphone or your mobile devices through the Play Store. We want to say a special thank you and welcome to you all. Listeners, I need not say a lot. Last week was very interesting. There has been overwhelming responses to the topic that we choose to look at for this month, and it is simply your rights as a consumer. Do you know your rights? What are your rights? Am I doing something that is not right as someone who is establishment? Am I, as a consumer, at the mercy of persons who I choose to do business with and don't even know it? What are your rights? Do you know them? I won't use much of the time, but I want to say today, again, for your benefit, we will be continuing our interview live with Mr. Michael Diamond, who is the Vice President of the National Consumers League. And I tell you, it's been the very, 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 very busy season. They have their hands full, but he has committed from day one to be a part of Your Wealth and You. Mr. Producer is trying to get him on air as we speak. But let me remind you, feel free to call. Feel free to text. Feel free to send a WhatsApp message. Feel free to send a message on our Facebook page, which is Your Wealth and You at but you can just go on Facebook to make it simple. You can just go on Facebook and type in Your Wealth and You, and you'll be taken to the page, and you can just click on the link and you'll hear us live. So we're doing a lot of things to make sure that we all stay in the know. Today we want to focus on warranties, but I know there are a few questions, there are a few comments, there are a few queries that we've been having as it relates to the topic we spoke about last week. And so we're going to be continuing that discussion today. But I understand Mr. Diamond is on standby, so we're just waiting to connect with him. But feel free to send in the questions. Feel free to send up the comments and the queries, as it is your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to speak directly with Mr. Vice President. Listeners, are you ready? I hope you are. Good afternoon, Mr. Diamond. I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing fine. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Okay, you're welcome. And I want to extend welcome and a hearty thank you again on behalf of the listeners, because I know they have some things that they have on stockpile to talk to you about. And they are invited to call in today, so I hope they don't get scared and they actually do call. But we spoke about refunds last week, and it has taken quite a bit of pikes as it relates to interest for our listeners. But today we wanted to talk more about warranties.
Okay. Yes. Especially now that we are up on the season and individuals are going to be buying items, it's very important that the warranty definitely becomes part of the discussion. One of the most troubling aspect of the warranty is the confusion of who is actually responsible in the event that the appliance or the item becomes damaged or inoperable. But as far as warranties are concerned under the Consumer Protection Act, is that it's the manufacturer's warranty that actually holds superior to that which the merchant actually is offering. So it's important to check. It's important to check the manuals, especially that comes with your product or device. And if there isn't a manual or a very conspicuous outstanding warranty with that particular product, it's important for you to ask the merchant as well.
for a manual or for something that goes along with our product.
Well, you want to ask them you definitely want to get the agreement on what the warranty will actually, what is actually covered on that appliance or device that you're actually purchasing, because it's important that you at least have some security into knowing that, in the effect that something does happen, that you're able to bring, or they can able to get it repaired. And also, it's important to find out, and it's also preferable that whomsoever that you're buying an item from, it's better they do the installation as well, because they would actually have a better understanding of what exactly is required for the installation.
Okay. I thank you for pointing that out, because I had one person who tried getting my attention today, as they were a bit concerned about purchasing an item in a sealed box, or what appears to be a sealed box. However, there was no manual inside. They were told that you could go online and type up how to use this piece of equipment that they bought.
Okay.
Is that something that is acceptable, or?
It's not a matter that is acceptable. It's just that as consumers, we have to be very, very, very careful and discerning in whom is it that we're going to be spending our money with. When you buy an item from, let's say, a large outlet, they usually are very customer friendly, and they will make sure that these items are provided for you with manuals and so forth. But when you're buying from probably a local discounter, that you have to save a buck by shipping them in bulk, is that oftentimes they're shipped outside of their proper boxes, and the manuals might be misplaced. But nonetheless, if you purchase an item, it is required that you get the original box that is in, and you check for yourself.
Yes.
New items oftentimes are shipped with the manuals.
Right.
That will also include information regarding the warranty. Unfortunately, there are unscrupulous merchants out there, unfortunately, this is just a part of our system, that will remove these manuals because they do not want you to know the depth of the obligation that they'll have to the consumer. Basically put, the manufacturer's warranty stands above what the retailer is offering to you.
Yes.
If you go into a store and the merchant tells you, well, this warranty is only for 90 days, but then what is covered, that merchant is responsible for obligating that manufacturer's warranty. That's what stands at law. So it is important that you know that if your item does not have a manual in it, you shouldn't take it. I know some of our consumers want the discount, they want the bargain, and they will accept an item even though it seems shabby and is not in its proper packaging. But nonetheless, prevention is better than cure.
Wow. And that is simply put, prevention is better than cure. I had this message coming in earlier, and it speaks to, and I'm going to paraphrase because we want to save some time on the information that you have to give us. But this message came in, and it was about someone who purchased an iron.
Okay.
Upon purchasing the iron, they were told that, ma'am, you have up to 3 weeks to return this iron. And if it happens that it is more than 3 weeks that you return this iron, we won't be able to do anything. You have up to 3 weeks. So the person indicated that she said to the person who was selling her the iron that more chances are the iron won't malfunction before 3 weeks. But what if week number 4 something happens to my iron? What do I do? The individual was told that we sell more irons. That was the response.
Okay. Well, that is not a unique experience for many consumers, and unfortunately, there's very little that you can do in a situation like that, unless, as I said, unless you have to enforce your consumer rights. And what does that mean? It simply means that even though that manufacturer is telling you that, you must also request the information that comes with that iron. Calling the National Consumers League of Jamaica or contacting the Consumer Affairs Commission, we are able to assist you, because that is not legitimate and that is not commercially reasonable for an individual to tell you that the iron is only on the warranty for 3 weeks. That is unacceptable.
Wow.
And chances are no manufacturer would give a 6-month implied warranty on all items purchased. So this is a situation where that consumer, even though they heard that, could have contacted us immediately, or even the Consumer Affairs Commission for assistance. Then again, we would recommend, of course, not to purchase from that particular merchant that is only, willing to give you 3 weeks warranty on an iron. So the idea of it, again, is that the power is in your hands.
Wow.
The power is in your choices. Therefore, once the manufacturer is telling you, look, we're only giving you 3 weeks on this item, it is up to you to walk away again. But a bargain today can be dead tomorrow.
Wow.
The idea of it is that do not put yourself in situations that are very obviously going to turn out bad for you. He's selling an item that he's not willing to guarantee for longer than 3 weeks. That is not the relationship that you want to enter into.
Interesting. So, it's very interesting that you brought that up as it relates to relationship. Us as consumers entering into a relationship with persons who we choose to do business with. I got this. Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is that oftentimes we do not. The thing is, we often don't perceive it as a relationship. We just consider it a business transaction.
Right.
But from a merchant perspective, it is a relationship. You do want to build good relations with your customer. Some would take advantage, of course, but a lot of merchants here, are very serious to do business, and they do want to build strong relationships with our consumers here in Jamaica. It's just that, again, we have to be vigilant. And once we perceive it as a relationship, just like any other relationship, there has to be a level of trust. So that level of trust will exist once a merchant is going to be explicit, and it's a matter of fair dealing. So once the manufacturer gives you a warranty and an iron of 1 year, it is not proper in a relationship for someone to cheat you and say, well, you know what, we're only going to guarantee you this for 3 weeks, when in fact they're obligated to more. So it is important that you measure your relationships on a level of trust.
Interesting. No, I have this big one for you. And the person who sent the information in a not to be identified.
I understand.
Right. But the situation says, okay, fine. I'm trying to get it so I can give it to you as it is. But it points clearly that this individual, she said she had gone to an establishment to purchase a nice television. Okay. And she was told by the merchant that you can benefit from our layaway provision that we have. So she decided that she was going to do that. Her next step was to have paid down on the television because it is something that was at a very good price and it was something that she always wanted. Okay. She said she continued paying, I think, twice or 3 times, and the cash accumulated to about $18,000. Something come up, she didn't remember that, hey, I'm paying on a TV, and so I should go pay the balance and get my television. However, a few weeks after, she went back to the establishment with her receipts, with all indications as to her previous payments. And she went to the merchant and she said, hey, I'm here now to pay the balance and to collect my TV. And the response to her from the merchant was that your receipt states that after 30 days, if you did not complete the payment on this layaway arrangement, you will not be able to get your cash back. And so she lost $18,000. She wants to know, how can she go about making any claims or getting redress to that or in that particular situation?
I would definitely advise that the time allotted to this program wouldn't allow me to get into the specifics of how to reach that redress. But just from the face of what you have just said, is that you are, as a consumer, you are obligated to be very informed about the contracts and agreements that you're entering into. And a layaway plan is no different than any other contract that you would enter into. You have to read the details. And once you sign on the dot of your money, you are, in essence, agreeing to the terms of that contract, that agreement. So because you failed to honor it, because you came after the fact, is that there's going to be some consequence, just like any other agreement. There has to be a caveat of consequence if you fail to keep your end of the bargain. The only time that there can be a possible redress in a situation like that is, in fact, if there was some misadvertising to you, or there's some misinformation or deliberate misleading you into agreeing to the layaway based on certain attract terms they might have presented that change after you've agreed.
Yes.
But nonetheless, as consumers, we have to be very careful entering into those type of agreements and bargains, that you have to read the fine details. As far as the redress is concerned, that would take a little bit more investigation to find out whether or not the agreement was proper under the law in reference to how informed was the consumer. Were you advised of when you can actually rescind, basically change your mind without any penalties as the law provides for you? So that as I said, this medium at this point wouldn't be enough to get to that. But nonetheless, yes, there is a limited possibility of redress due to the fact that it really falls under some contract terms, and contract law would now be triggered into finding out whether or not you were fully informed. But nonetheless, you have to read these fine prints. You have to ask questions. Layaway agreements are, it's another marketing tool. It's also a competitive edge for an individual to offer you some in-store credit, because technically that's really what it is to a certain degree. So it has a certain nature to it, and that nature is we have to be informed. We have to read the details. If in fact that, yes, we discover that, there was some mishap, or there was some deliberate misleading you into it to agreeing, then by all means it couldn't have been a valid agreement, and then of course you will have some avenues for recourse. But you shouldn't just simply accept, because always seek out legal advice. Always find out, because that's the only way you're going to know and preserve your rights is when you file a claim. So you don't have to guarantee a victory in order for you to get some answers or whether or not. So what that consumer actually did by asking that question is very good. That's the first start in protecting those rights. But yes, there's always an opportunity to discover whether or not you've been wrong, unfairly treated, but it's also up to us as the consumer at the beginning of the transaction to read and get as much details about it as possible.
I'm looking at the clock. I'm looking at the clock on the wall, and I don't like what I'm seeing. But I'm going to ask you this tricky question. Sir Diamond.
Of course.
Most times, 99% of the times we buy something, we're expecting a written warranty. Most of the times, warranties are in writing. But how good is warranty?
Well, I'll tell you this. The thing about an implied warranty is that at law, that is what's written. Therefore, the implied warranty, which is up to 6 months, is already something established by law. Therefore, in the event that there's a situation, then it cannot be remedied between you and that merchant. Once we enter into the consumer tribunal, to get some resolve and redress, it is the law that will be triggered. So it's not a matter of whether they write it there. It is already written at law, and therefore it is something that is very, 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 very valid, and it's very strong. So the idea of the implied warranty, whether or not the individual is aware of it, is that that's the type of protection that occurs even in your own, I would say, absentness of knowing that information. So the law, yes, is written for that purpose, for situations just like that.
Wow. So I need you now I'm a little bit excited, but I need you now to give us the contact information, if you have that on hand, for the National Consumers League, because persons are listening and not most persons will want to call or text or get their information out there. But I want you to give that information out so persons can make their personal inquiries, persons can be more personal.
Oh, yes.
Right.
I'm always happy to do that. Our telephone number is 926-6388. That's 926-6388. And email is actually notcomely, NATCOMLE, notcomely@cwjamaica.com. Now, because of the season, and we are expecting many calls, you don't have to wait until there's a problem to call us. If you're curious regarding a consumer right or issue, do give us a call. We're here to assist you in all possible ways to make sure that your rights are protected and preserved. So for the National Consumers League of Jamaica, that is 926-6388, or you can email us at natcomly, N-A-T-C-O-M.
How long, or no, I don't want to say how long. What is the usual process for lodging a complaint with the National Consumers League?
Okay, I can tell you that once we receive, whether it's via email or you come into our offices at 29 Beechwood Avenue, Kingston 5, once we receive your complaint, it is acted upon immediately. Right? So this is not something that sits. So once you receive your complaint, it's acted upon immediately, not simply for redress, but just to verify the information and to discern whether or not there's actually an issue that deals with consumer rights. So it is something that is immediate. So once a person comes in or call or we get this information, we immediately do a report and we begin our investigation. Normally we see results depending on the level of grievance, usually within 48 hours. So it is a situation where individuals need to know that, yes, there is help, there is assistance. Whenever your rights are being violated, you can contact us. We are non-government, which means that we're not restrained by certain bureaucracy red tape, which means that we go directly at the source and get you the remedy that you deserve.
Wow. So at this time of the year when everything is going awry and everybody
the fact in the event that there's a breach. Now, when you're purchasing from a dealer, the dealership has international agreements and even locally here in Jamaica once they're doing business with you. So you are protected as long as, of course, you cross your T's and dot your I's, you read the fine print, you ask questions, and you make sure that it's put in writing.
Wow.
So yes, as far as automobiles are concerned, they're obligated to you. Has international agreements and once they're doing business with you. So you are protected as long as, of course, you cross your T's and dot your I's, you read the fine print, you ask questions, and you make sure that it's put in writing.
Wow.
So yes, as far as automobiles are concerned, they're obligated to you. Has international agreements and even locally here in Jamaica once they're doing business with you. So you are protected as long as, of course, you cross your T's and dot your I's, you read the fine print, you ask questions, and you make sure that it's put in writing.
Wow.
So yes, as far as automobiles are concerned, they're obligated to you.
Or opening hours, Mondays to Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Fridays, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Give us a call at 917-8649 or 584-1842. Penny Savers, the best in meat and grocery.
You.
good afternoon, listeners. Thank you for joining me today for this episode of Your Wealth and You. In this week's feature, we will be continuing our focus on knowing your rights as a consumer. But first, let's get a word from our sponsors, and then right after the break, we will head straight into that discussion. Our studio number to call or text is 85060. That's 8506004. Invite someone to share on TuneIn Radio app or on our website at www.ggfmja.org and like our show on our Facebook page. I can tell you that it's quite an interactive page. You can also feel free to send me an email at yourwealthandyou@gmail.com and have your questions, your comments, and your queries addressed right here on the show.